Hello viewers, yes, this is Ranjana ma'am and you are watching mine as well as your channel, and the thumbnail says it all. Yes, this is the second part of Julius Caesar Act 2 Scene 1, and we'll start from the place where the conspirators are discussing whether Mark Antony should be also killed along with Caesar or not. So Cassius is the opinion that Mark Antony, who is very fond, or rather Julius Caesar is very fond of Mark Antony, so it is better that Mark Antony should also be killed with him, because Mark Antony might want to take revenge. But the moment Brutus says no, Mark Antony, leave him, don't kill him, then we will seem like butchers, not reformers. And since they wanted to project Brutus as their leader, they obey him. So we will start from that part where Brutus intervenes and he gives his opinion regarding Mark Antony, whether Mark Antony should follow Caesar or not. Yes, but what are we waiting for? I am waiting for you all to decide your mind to subscribe to my channel, and yes, to tell you that after you have finished watching my video, please give it a like. I'm sure you'll like it. So we are back and we will resume from where we had left in my previous video of Julius Caesar. Act 2 Scene 1 we had stopped at, let Antony and Caesar fall together. This is what Cassius had to say. And what does Brutus say now? Quite a big speech of Brutus. Our course will seem too bloody, Caius Cassius, to cut the head off and then hack the limbs, like wrath in death and envy afterwards. So Brutus doesn't support Cassius. He says that if we kill Mark Antony, it would seem like murdering a person and then cutting off his limbs. So first you chop the head off and then cut the pieces, cut the body into pieces. So it would seem like first you kill him on account of jealousy, and then you hack his body on account of your anger, like wrath in death and envy afterwards. So right, okay, so wrath in death means anger in death. You kill him because you're angry, and later you cut him to pieces on account of your jealousy. So, and that is why he doesn't want that Mark Antony should be killed after Caesar. Caesar is the head, you chop off the head and then you cut the body into pieces. So Mark Antony is like a limb of Caesar, and when the head is chopped off, the limb cannot do anything harmful. So the limb becomes useless. So what is the use of cutting the limb? Let us be sacrificers but not butchers. Yes, we are sacrificers. We are offering Caesar as a sacrifice to the gods. But if we kill Mark Antony along with Caesar, it would seem that we are butchers, and we don't want us to be like butchers. We don't want that the people should think us as butchers. They should rather think that we are sacrificers. Killing Julius Caesar, we are offering him as a sacrifice to the gods. We all stand up against the spirit of Caesar, and in the spirit of man there is no blood. Oh, that we then could come by Caesar's spirit and not dismember him. So Brutus says that we are not against Caesar, we are against the spirit of Caesar. That means the tyrannical spirit of Caesar, and the spirit of men, they are not made of flesh and blood. So he laments the fact that if only we could kill the spirit of Caesar without killing his body. without killing him, if only we could kill his spirit, the spirit of tyranny, which becomes dangerous for Rome, or which will become dangerous for Rome. If only we could kill his spirit without doing any harm to the man. But alas, Caesar must bleed for it. But alas, why alas? Alas is an exclamation of sadness. Why does he say alas? Because he knows that the spirit cannot be killed with the body remaining. How can we kill the body? How can we kill the spirit with the body there? So because of that, Caesar will have to die, will bleed. And gentle friends, let's kill him boldly but not wrathfully. And then he tells the fellow conspirators that, gentlemen, let us kill Caesar bravely, in a heroic manner, but not in an envious or jealous manner, in a malicious or a cruel manner. Let us not show any cruelty, any malice in murdering him. Let us show that we are killing him in a heroic manner. No malice should be present there in our action. Public should not sense any malice in our action. Let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods, not hew him as a carcass fit for hounds. So yes, let's kill Julius Caesar in a heroic manner, as an offering to the god, as a sacrifice, as an offering to the god, which is done with respect. When you offer something to the god, you do it respectfully. So let's offer Caesar as a sacrifice. Let's offer him respectfully to God, not be like butchers and cut his body into pieces and to feed the hounds. Caesar should bleed to be offered to God, not to be used as a food for the hounds. And let our hearts, as subtle masters do, stir up their servants to an act of rage, and after seem to chide them. And let us behave like the intelligent masters. Intelligent masters, what do? They first provoke or incite their servants to do something wrong. And once they do wrong, then we scold them. But would they have done it if we had not provoked them? No. So let us provoke. Let us be like good masters or clever masters who provoke their servants first, and when they do something wrong, then we scold them. Why did you do this? But it is we who have provoked them to reach this point. And when they do it, we scold them. This is not the right thing you have done. This shall make our purpose necessary. Yes, and you will see that in Act 3, Scene 1, they deliberately provoke Caesar to be arrogant. And when he becomes arrogant, then all of them surround Caesar and kill. Their object is to show to the public Caesar is arrogant, and once if he had been allowed to become the king, how he would have treated the common people. So the common people should be given an idea of Caesar's arrogance or rudeness. So that is why he says, let us be like clever masters. First provoke our servants to do something wrong, and after that scold them. So let's provoke Caesar to do something wrong, and after that kill him. This shall make our purpose necessary and not envious. So if we do this, people will see that it was necessary. This killing of Caesar was necessary. We had to do it. And we haven't done it on account of our jealousy for Caesar. This is very important. Public should not feel that since we were jealous of Caesar, we killed him. We should make them feel that we have killed Caesar for the good of Rome. Otherwise, he would have treated the Romans as servants. We have to make the public believe this. With so appearing to the common eyes, we shall be called purgers, not murderers. So if we are able to present our cause in the proper manner, then people will think of us as reformers, as purifiers. We are purifying Rome from the tyranny of Caesar, and not murderers. We are not murderers. We are purifying Rome from the evil effects of Caesar's tyranny. We are purifiers, we are reformers, we are not murderers. And for Mark Antony, think not of him. Don't bother yourself about Mark Antony. Why? For he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is off. So don't give any thought to Mark Antony. He is just like a limb of Caesar. And what can the limb do when the head is cut off? So what can Mark Antony do if Caesar is dead? He will automatically become powerless. This is a grave mistake of Brutus. He underestimates Mark Antony. Whereas Cassius, I said, is more practical, and he knows that Mark Antony would prove to be a very dangerous enemy, and he did. And eventually what happened? It was Mark Antony who won the civil war later. And Brutus, Cassius, all of them, they either died or they had to commit suicide. So Brutus's very serious mistake. He is not far-sighted. He doesn't delve deep into the human heart to know what is their potential. He is a great patriot, but he is not far-sighted. He is not so prudent as Cassius is. Cassius is very clever. So what he says, just see what Cassius says. Yet I fear him, for in the engrafted love he bears to Caesar. So Cassius shows his disagreement, that whatever you have said, in spite of all that, I am afraid of Mark Antony because of his deep-rooted love for Caesar. So he has this deep-rooted love for Caesar, and once he sees Caesar dead, he can do anything. Because of his deep-rooted love for Caesar, he would naturally want revenge. So we should not underestimate Mark Antony. Brutus feels, oh, Mark Antony, he is so fond of games and sports and all that. So Brutus, alas, good Cassius, do not think of him. He is assuring Cassius, Cassius, don't bother yourself about Mark Antony. If he loves Caesar, all that he can do is to take thought and die for Caesar. And that were much he should, for he is given to sports, wildness and much company. So Brutus assures Cassius, Cassius, don't bother. Don't think of Mark Antony anymore. If he loves Caesar so much, the best thing he can do is to follow Caesar. So if his love for Caesar is so great, he cannot do any harm other than harm himself. So he will, at the most, he will die on account of his sadness for Caesar. He would become sad, and then he would die on account of Caesar's deep love for Caesar, on account of his deep love for Caesar. But since Mark Antony is fond of merriment, he is fond of games and sports, this is too much to expect from him. I don't think he will commit any of these. He won't die on account of Caesar, because he is very fond of sports, he is very fond of company, he is very fond of merriment. So this is too much to expect from Mark Antony, that he would die on account of Caesar. So now see how the other conspirators react when Brutus says that no, there is nothing to worry about Mark Antony. Trebonius, there is no fear in him, let him not die, for he will live and laugh at this hereafter. So Trebonius says, now he also echoes what Brutus says. He says that okay, let him live, because later he will himself laugh at the death of Caesar. That means he won't be really very much affected once Caesar is dead. Wrong. This is very wrong. Mark Antony plans the revenge and does it in such a skillful manner. Brutus, and then the clock strikes. Brutus, peace, count the clock. So silence. Let's count the clock and see what time it is. So I think this is anachronism. You know what anachronism is? In this clock, sounding of the clock is natural in Shakespeare's time, but not in Julius Caesar's time, 44 BC. Before Christ, did you have a clock which would sound 1, 2, 3 and all that? So it doesn't match with the time. And this figure of speech is called anachronism. I'll give you one example. Think of Mark Antony giving his speech, friends, Romans, countrymen, and then he starts coughing. And then he says, oh, please give me one tablet of Vicks. So Vicks was not there in Mark Antony's time. This medicine is used in the modern times. Vicks ki goli lo, khich khich dur karo. So this is an example of anachronism, means something which is not of the proper type. So the striking of the clock, Brutus wants to hear what time it is. Cassius, the clock had stricken 3, that means the clock has struck 3 times, that means it's 3 o'clock. It is time to part. So Trebenius says it is time for us to leave. Cassius, but it is doubtful yet whether Caesar will come forth today or no, for he is superstitious grown of late. Quite from the main opinion he held once of fantasy of dreams and ceremonies. It may be these apparent prodigies, the unaccustomed terror of the night, and the persuasion of his augurers may hold him from the capital today. Again, see, these are such points which tell you what a clever person Cassius is. If only he had not been so jealous of Caesar, he could have become a very he had a lot of qualities in him. He could hear the footsteps of a person and identify. In the darkness, he could hear the voice of a person and say who it is. He could see through the hearts of men what was going in their hearts. Remember, Caesar was the best person to estimate Cassius. And Caesar was afraid of Cassius, but he said, I am Caesar and I am not afraid of anyone. But he had judged Cassius very correctly. So now also, he has his doubts whether Caesar will come to the capital or not. Why? It is doubtful yet whether Caesar will come forth today or no. Why? Because in the current times or the recent times, Caesar has become very superstitious. And that is very different or contrary to the opinion which he used to hold earlier. That means earlier he did not believe in these superstitious thoughts, he did not believe in these omens and all that, but in recent times he has started believing in these omens and superstitions. He has become superstitious in the recent times and has started believing in these omens. It may be these apparent prodigies, the unaccustomed terror of this night and the persuasion of his augurers, 3 points. So it could be that his visions, dreams, the omens and the strange spectacles which have been witnessed in the night, and also persuasion from his priest, might prevent him from coming to the capital. So what are the reasons he gives for Caesar's not coming to the capital? Caesar in recent times has become superstitious. Earlier he did not believe in visions and dreams, but now he believes in them. So these spectacles which have been strange spectacles which have been seen in the night. Remember what Cassius Casca said? A man with his hand all in fire, but there was no pain. And then women had seen men all in fire walking up and down. The lion in the middle of the road in Rome. So these were apparent prodigies, and the unaccustomed horror of the night. Yes, what a horrible night! Thunder, lightning, and also the advice coming from his priests or the augurers. They might prevent him from coming to the capital. So these are the reasons. So what does Decius Brutus say? Never fear that. If he be so resolved, I can oversway him. For he loves to hear that unicorns may be betrayed with trees, bears with glasses, elephants with holes, lions with toils, and men with flatterers. But when I tell him he hates flatterers, he says he does, being then most flattered. So Decius Brutus also is a very clever fellow. He is young and very clever. So what does he say? Don't be afraid of Caesar, or don't be afraid of Caesar's becoming superstitious. I know how to bring him to the capital. So he says, even if he is resolute not to come to the capital, I can persuade him to change his mind. How? So he likes being told that you can easily deceive a unicorn by hiding yourself behind a tree. You can deceive a bear by placing a mirror in front of it, so the bear will think this is another bear. So he might be fooled. A unicorn, you can fool a unicorn by hiding behind a tree, and then you can trap an elephant by digging holes and covering it up, and the elephant will fall into the trap. So you can fool an elephant. You can fool a lion by setting those nets and then getting the lion trapped. Remember the story of the lion and the small rat or the mouse which had helped the lion later. So cut the nets and freed the lion. So lions can be trapped with the help of nets. Men can be trapped by flattering. And then if I tell, but Caesar hates flattery. Men can be trapped by flatterers but not Caesar. That means it's a general rule that we can fool a man by flattering him, but the only man who cannot be flattered is Caesar, and then Caesar will agree to it. He will be very happy, he will agree to it, and then actually he is the most flattered. That Caesar does not like flattery, and he agrees to it, and then he feels most flattered. So Decius Brutus knows how to make Caesar change his mind by flattering him. He will agree that yes, you are right, men can be deceived by flattery, but Caesar cannot be deceived, and then only he feels the most flattered. If I say this, I will go and tell him men can be flattered but not Caesar, and Caesar will be really flattered. I am like the northern star. That is what he will tell in Act 3 Scene 1. Let me work, let me think, let me play upon his feelings, for I can give his humor the true bent, and I will bring him to the capital. So yes, let me work upon him, and he is confident that he will somehow bring Caesar to the capital or their senate house, like we have our parliament. But see, Cassius, he has these conspirators in his conspiracy, he has involved them, but it seems he doesn't trust any of them. So what does he say? When Brutus says, I will go, he says, nay, we will all of us be there to fetch him. So he says, no, Decius, not you alone, we all will go along with you to bring him to the capital. Brutus, by the 8th hour, is that the uttermost? So they decide that by 8 o'clock the latest, they will reach Caesar's house, and from there take him to the capital. Be that the uttermost, and fall not then. So even Cinna agrees, yes, let 8 o'clock be the latest, and we should be in time. Metellus, Caius Ligarius doth bear Caesar hard, who rated him for speaking well of Pompey. I wonder none of you have thought of him. So their job, the job of the conspirators, is to check out and see who are the people who are against Caesar. Somehow Caesar has displeased them, and their job is to make a list of these people and include them in the conspiracy. So Metellus Cimber suddenly remembers that Caius Ligarius, he is not happy with Caesar. Caesar has scolded him openly when he praised Pompey. Who had praised Pompey? Caius Ligarius, and Pompey was Caesar's arch rival. So Caesar naturally scolded Ligarius for praising Pompey, and that is why Caius Ligarius seems to be angry with Caesar. So why don't we include him in the conspiracy? I wonder why you didn't include him. Brutus, now good Metellus, go along by him. He loves me well, and I have given him reasons. Send him but hither, and I'll fashion him. So Brutus accepts the name of Caius Ligarius as one of the conspirators. So he tells Metellus Cimber that while you are going back drop in at Caius Ligarius's house and tell him that to come and meet me. He loves me and I know I can persuade him to join our conspiracy. He will follow whatever I tell him because I have given him reasons for that. That means he must have done some favor to Caius Ligarius, and that is why Caius Ligarius will follow Brutus blindly, and he knows this. So he tells you, go, while you are going back to your home, drop in at Caius Ligarius's house and tell him to come and meet me, and I will mold him. I will persuade him to join our conspiracy. Cassius, the morning comes upon us. We leave you, Brutus, and friends, disperse yourselves. But all remember what you have said and show yourselves true Romans. So Cassius now gives the leaving orders. All of us, let's go home, go back to our homes, let's disperse. And before you leave, all of us, remember, let us act like true Romans. True Romans never break their word. Whatever they have promised, or rather not promised, whatever they have said, they will carry it out. Remember, Brutus did not allow them to promise. He said the word is enough. We don't need to make a promise. So before leaving, Cassius reminds the other conspirators. And a good piece of advice coming from Brutus. So Brutus says, good gentlemen, look fresh and merrily. Let not our looks put on our purposes, but bear it as our Roman actors do, with untied spirit and formal constancy. And so good morrow to you everyone. So Brutus's advice is that don't show yourself as tired. Yes, they have been awake till 3 o'clock or rather more. So don't try to give an impression that you've had a sleepless night. Then people might suspect what were they doing in the night. So look fresh, look happy. Don't look so lean and haggard and sleepless. That would give rise to suspicion. Show yourself as if you've just woken up from your sleep full of vigor, full of vitality, full of freshness. Look very happy. So don't let our faces show our plans. What we have planned, don't let our faces betray those plans. Let them be in the mind but not on the face. Behave in the way the Roman actors do. The Roman actors, when they play their part on stage, they do it very deftly. Let us play our parts very deftly as happy citizens of Rome, not as conspirators. So with untied spirits and formal constancy. And so good morrow to you everyone, and all of them they leave with the exception of Brutus. It is Brutus's house only, so he will be here. Boy Lucius, fast asleep? It is no matter. Enjoy the honey heavy dew of slumber. Thou hast no figures nor no fantasies, which busy care draws in the brains of men. Therefore thou sleepest so sound. So he calls Lucius and he sees that Lucius has already gone to sleep. So he says, yes, you enjoy your sleep, it doesn't matter. Why? Because sleep is so refreshing. When you wake up from your deep and peaceful sleep, how do you feel? You feel very rejuvenated. And then he says, actually, you don't have any imaginary troubles which can disturb your peace of mind. And that, like people who are full of anxiety and sadness, you don't have these things to bother you, and naturally you can have a sound sleep. And then who comes? Portia. This Portia is Brutus's wife, Portia, not the merchant of Venice, Portia. Brutus, my lord. So Brutus is shocked. Has Portia heard what we were discussing? He seems alarmed. Portia, what mean you? Wherefore rise you now? It is not for your health thus to commit your weak condition to the raw cold morning. So he gets alarmed and he tells Portia, what are you doing here? Why have you left the comfort of your bed? your health is not very strong, and it is not good for you to expose yourself to the cold morning. So Portia is not a fool, she is a clever woman, and what does she say in return? Not for yours neither. So if it is not good for me, it is not good for you also. You have ungently Brutus stole from my bed, and yesternight at supper you suddenly arose and walked about, musing and sighing with your arms across, like this, arms across. And when I asked you what the matter was, you stared upon me with ungentle looks. I urged you further, and then you scratched your head and too impatiently stamped with your foot. So she reminds Brutus of his strange behavior towards Portia. So she tells that, Brutus, it was not good for you to leave me alone in my bed, and you have been behaving in a strange manner. Last evening also, when we were having supper, suddenly you left your supper and kept on walking the room with your arms crossed. You seemed to be in deep thought. And when I questioned you, when I asked you what is the reason for your strange behavior, you looked at me in an angry manner. And when I urged you further, or I pressed upon you, then you scratched your head impatiently and stamped your foot on the ground. So these are all signs of impatience and anger. Yet I insisted, yet you answered not, but with an angry gesture of your hand gave sign for me to leave you. So I did not stop. I went on asking you, and you went on avoiding the answers. And finally you made a gesture with your hand to tell me to leave the room. So I did. So I left the room, fearing to strengthen that impatience which seems too much enkindled, and withal hoping it was but an effect of humour, which sometimes hath his hour with every man. So what did Portia do then? So she stopped insisting. When he made a gesture for her to leave the room, so she did. She left the room. And why? Because she did not want to increase his anger. She did not want him to become more angry, and that is why she did not want to provoke him to more anger. She left him. And she felt that it was his bad temper which was responsible for this action. And many times all of us in our lives have some bad times, or we are in a bad mood. We are not always in a good mood. There are times when we suffer from bad moods. So maybe this is what has happened to you also. It will not let you eat, nor talk, nor sleep, and could it work so much upon your shape, and it had much prevailed on your condition, I should not know you, Brutus. Dear my lord, make me acquainted with your cause of grief. So she says that your bad mood would not allow you to have your food, would not allow you to carry out conversation, would prevent you from taking your normal rest. So it has affected your appearance in such a manner that it seems that I cannot recognize you. It becomes difficult for me. Could it work so much upon your shape, as it had much prevailed upon your condition, I should not know you. So if it had appeared on your condition, I would find difficulty in knowing you. So my husband, dear husband, please tell me what is the reason for your sadness. Why are you behaving in this manner? I'm not well in health, and that is all. So he tries to avoid the right answer. He tries to avoid the truth, and he says that there is nothing to be bothered. I'm not good in health. I'm not in good health, and that is why I'm behaving in this manner. So Portia is not a fool to be taken by such answers. So what does she say? Brutus is wise, and were he not in health, he would embrace the means to come by it. She knows her husband is a wise person, And if Brutus was not really in good health, then he would do only those things to improve his health, not endanger it. So what is she hinting at? If you are not good in health, would you have exposed yourself to this cold morning? Brutus is wise, he is not a fool. So if he knows that he is not good in health, he would not do those things which would further weaken his health. He would do those things to overcome his bad health. So Brutus, why? So do I. Good Portia, go to bed. So yes, Portia, I am doing so. I am doing those things to improve my condition. So Portia, you go to bed. He is eager to send her to bed, but Portia is not going to allow it happen. She has to get some answers from him. Is Brutus sick? And is it physical to walk unbraced and suck up the humours of the dank morning? What? Is Brutus sick? And will he steal out of his wholesome bed to dare the vile contagion of the night and tend the rheumy and unpurged air to add to his sickness? Yes, I told you, very powerful reasons. Brutus, you say you are not well physically. So if you are not well, would you have walked with your would you have walked in this manner, not wearing your dresses properly? Your dress is half fastened. So if you are not well, you would have fastened your dress so that you don't catch the cold in this bad weather. It's so cold outside. Would you have exposed yourself in this way if you were not really in good health? Would you have undertaken the risk to further endanger your health by walking with your dress not properly fastened and inhale the cold air of the morning? Would you have taken this risk if you are not good in health? You want me to believe that you are not good in health. So if you are really sick, would you have left the comforts of your bed? The bed is so comfort with the with the wraps and all that. Would you have left that and come here to the orchard? If this was the truth that you are not in good health, would you have left the comforts of your bed and come here to expose yourselves to the evils of the night, the damp air of the night? Would you have exposed yourself to that? No, my Brutus, you have some sick offense within your mind. So, my Brutus, you are not physically unwell. There is something bothering you in your mind. The sickness is not in the body but in the mind, which by the right and virtue of my place I ought to know of. And upon my knees I charm you, by my once commended beauty, by all your vows of love, and that great vow which did incorporate and make us one, that you unfold to me, yourself, your half. Why you are heavy, and what men tonight have had resort to you. For here have been some 6 or 7 who did hide their faces even from darkness. So she says the trouble is not in your physical body, it's in your mind. And being your wife, being your better half, I think I have a right to know what is bothering you. So I kneel before you and remind you of that beauty of mine which had impressed you in the earlier days, that love, the words of love which you had spoken to me earlier. I bring in the reference of the marriage oath which you had made during the marriage which had made us one, to let me be a partner to your secret. So she reminds him that I am your partner, I am your wife. You have promised to keep no secrets between us. This was one of the marriage promises you had made. You had praised my beauty. You had spoken so many words of love to me. So I charge you, or I request you, I implore upon you to let me be a partner to your secret. because I know. And who were these men who had come to visit you? Who were these men who had come to visit you? Because I have seen some 5 to 6 men, or 6 or 7 men, who had come to this house, and they had covered their faces even in this darkness. So now Brutus feels, yes, she knows that these men had come. So I think I have to tell, because now I cannot avoid the truth. I'll have to say something to her. Kneel not, gentle Portia. And Brutus also seems moved, because he loves Portia. And he tells, please, gentle Portia, don't kneel. I should not need if you were gentle, Brutus. Brutus, if you had been gentle towards me, I would not have needed to kneel in front of you. Within the bond of marriage, tell me, Brutus, is it expected I should know no secrets that appertain to you? Am I yourself, as it were, in sort or limitation to keep with you at meals, comfort your bed, talk to you sometimes? Dwell I but in the suburbs of your good pleasure? If it be no more, Brutus, Portia is Brutus's harlot, not his wife. What a powerful speech. She hits him at the right point to make Brutus speak. So she says, Brutus, if you had been gentle with me, I would not have needed to kneel before you. So, according to the marriage bond, am I just to be kept ignorant of your secrets? That means in the marriage bond you have promised not to keep any secrets, but you are doing that. So should I know none of your secrets? Should I be your wife in a limited manner? Dining with you, sharing the same bed and talking to you sometimes? So is my duty as a wife limited only to these, that I should entertain you in your meals, in your bed, and talking to you sometimes? So am I only in the uppermost portion of your heart, not in the depth? Do I stay not in the depth of your heart, but in the uppermost region of your heart, so that I cannot share any of your innermost thoughts of your heart? If that is the case, then I am not your wife, I am your mistress, harlot, I am your mistress. Now Brutus loves his wife, and this is an insult to Portia. And how can he agree that yes, Portia is Brutus's mistress and not his wife? Yes, because you are not considering me as your better half. I am being treated in a limited manner, only sharing your bed with you, only sharing meals with you, and talking to you sometimes, but no secrets, sharing no secrets. Then that means I have no right over you. I don't have any right over your thoughts that are in the innermost part of your heart. So in that case, how can I be your wife? I am then your mistress. Mistress, they don't enjoy any rights. They don't share, they are not allowed to share the secrets. They only live in the superficial or uppermost regions of a person's heart. I am like that, then I am not your wife, I am your mistress. Brutus, you are my true and honorable wife, as dear to me as are the ruddy drops that visit my sad heart. So Brutus confesses, no, you are not my mistress. You are my true and honorable wife, and you are as close to me, you are as valuable to me as the red drops or the drops of blood that pass my heart. So that means you are as dear to me as the drops of blood which visit my own heart. That means I value you more than my own life. If this were true, then should I know the secret? Yeah, if what you are saying is true, then I should know the secret which is in your heart. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman that Lord Brutus took to wife. So why does she say, I grant I am a woman? Because women are not supposed to keep secrets. Women, it is said that women, they are not constant. They cannot keep secrets. So she says, I grant I am a woman, but as a woman, I am not an ordinary woman. Yes, I am a woman, but not an ordinary woman. I am a woman who is the wife of the great Lord Brutus. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman well reputed, Cato's daughter. Yeah, I agree, I am a woman, but I don't have that inconstancy of the women because of other women. Why? Because I am Lord Brutus's wife, and I am no ordinary woman. I am the daughter of the famous general Cato. Portia's father was a famous general by the name of Cato. Think you I am no stronger than my sex, being so fathered and so husbanded? So do you consider that I am weak like the ordinary women, when I am the daughter of such a father and the wife of such a husband? I am the daughter of Cato. I am the wife of Brutus. Tell me your counsels and I will not disclose them. So tell me your innermost thoughts, share your secrets with me, let me know of your plans, and I promise not to betray them. I will not reveal your secrets to anyone. I have made strong proof of my constancy, giving myself a voluntary wound here in the thigh. Can I bear that with patience and not my husband's secrets? So how does she prove that she is constant? So she had once, in order to prove her constancy, she had given herself a self-inflicting wound and borne it very patiently. So if I can bear that injury with patience, can I not keep my husband's secrets? Brutus, O ye gods, render me worthy of this noble wife. So Brutus is calling upon the gods and he tells them that make me worthy of this wife. Yeah, he is full of praise for Portia, and he says, please see that I remain faithful and I am worthy of her. And then there is a knocking heard. Hark, hark, one knocks. So listen, someone is knocking. Portia, go in a while, and by thy bosom shall partake the secrets of my heart. So Portia, at this moment someone is knocking, so you go inside. Soon I will let you know all those thoughts that are in my heart. All my engagements I will construe through thee. All the charactery of my sad brows. Leave me with haste. So whatever is in my heart I will explain, I will give you the reason why I am serious, but at this moment please leave me immediately. So she leaves, and then he asks Lucius, Lucius, see who is knocking at the door. Enter Lucius with Ligarius. So Ligarius, remember, Metellus Cimber had mentioned Caius Ligarius, and Brutus had told Metellus to send Ligarius to him. So Ligarius has come. Here is a sick man that would speak with you. So a sick man has come to talk to you. Brutus, Caius Ligarius that Metellus spoke of. Boy, stand aside. Caius Ligarius, how? So Brutus recognized, oh my God, this is none other than Caius Ligarius, about whom Metellus Cimber had spoken. So Lucius, you can leave us. And Caius Ligarius, how are you? I am not sick. Vouchsafe good morrow from a feeble tongue. So Ligarius says, accept good morning from a weak person. Oh, what a time you have chose out, brave Caius, to wear a kerchief. Would you were not sick? So Brutus wishes that Ligarius was not sick, because this is hardly a time for you to fall sick. So this is as if the wrong time for you to fall sick. That means we are in need of you. So this is not the right time for you to fall sick. I just wish you were not sick. So what does Ligarius say? I am not sick if Brutus have in hand any exploit worthy of the name of honor. So he is not sick, provided Brutus wants him to join some work which is honorable. He is ready to undertake an honorable job for the sake of Brutus, and he is, in that case, he is not sick. I am not sick, provided you can give me something honorable to join. Such an exploit have I in hand. Yes, I have in hand an honorable undertaking. I have an honorable job in my hand. Ligarius, had you a healthful ear to hear it? If you were really in the right condition of your health to hear of my plan. I have an honorable plan. If only you were fit enough to hear it. Ligarius, by all the gods that the Romans bow before, I here discard my sickness. Soul of Rome pulls off his kerchief. So, Ligarius says, I am swearing by the Roman gods and I am casting away all my sickness. So, he removes the kerchief he had put. Putting a kerchief means when you are sick, you put a kerchief or a muffler or something to cover your throat or to cover your ears and all that. So, he puts his kerchief aside. He is calling on the gods of Rome and he is casting aside his sickness. Brave son, derived from honorable loins, thou like an exorcist hast conjured up my mortified spirit. So, he calls Brutus the soul of Rome and he says, you are the worthy son of a worthy father, and like an exorcist, you have filled me with good health. You have taken away my ill health in the same way as an exorcist drives away the ghost from the possessed people. You know what an exorcist is, and the job of an exorcist, many times people are possessed, it is said, by an evil spirit, and the job of the exorcist is to drive away the evil spirit from the possessed man. So, Brutus is like an exorcist. Why? Because he has driven away the sickness from Caius Ligarius. He doesn't feel sick anymore. Now, bid me run and I will strive with things impossible. So, if you ask me what to do, I will do even the impossible things. Yea, get the better of them. I will do the impossible things in a much better manner than is expected. What's to do? So tell me what I have to do. A piece of work that will make sick men whole. Yes, I have something which will make sick men feel better. I have such a work in hand that will make sick men feel better. So Ligarius says something very clever. He says, but are not some whole we must make sick? So, but wouldn't your plan make some people who are healthy, won't your plan make some people sick? So, isn't the plan which you have in your mind going to make healthy people sick? Brutus said sick people healthy. So, he says, and wouldn't your plan also make some healthy people sick? That must we also, yeah, we must also make some healthy people sick. What it is, my Caius, I shall unfold to thee as we are going to whom it must be done. So, I will let you know of the plan while we are proceeding towards the house of that person to whom we have to carry this out. So, he will be proceeding towards Julius Caesar's house, and on the way he will unfold his whole plan to Caius Ligarius. Ligarius, set on your foot, and with a heart new fired, I follow you. To do I know not what, but it sufficeth that Brutus leads me on. So, this is blind devotion towards Brutus. He is a blind follower of Brutus, and without knowing what Brutus has in his mind, he is ready to follow him. Why? Most probably because he is aware that Brutus can do nothing wrong. He has that faith in Brutus. So, he feels that I don't need to know what the job is. This is sufficient that Brutus is leading me and I am going to follow him. Brutus, follow me then. And then there is a sound of thunder heard. And Brutus says, okay, then follow me. So, this is where Act 2, Scene 1, the second part of it comes to an end. So, here we find Portia, who seems to be quite a strong woman, an intelligent woman, and also the inclusion of one of the conspirators, Caius Ligarius. And not only that, a grave mistake of Brutus in letting Mark Antony live. So this is where, so Brutus gives his reasons why Mark Antony should be allowed to live, because Mark Antony is nothing but a limb of Caesar, and when the head is cut off, the limb becomes powerless. The limb cannot do anything, but his judgment of Mark Antony is wrong. And this is where Cassius scores upon him. But no one will disagree with Brutus, since they are projecting him as their leader. He is the one who is most popular in Rome after Julius Caesar. So they need his support, and that is why they naturally agree to what he says. Cassius is not a good leader, he is a good planner, and they need Brutus's support. So though Cassius is not convinced, half-heartedly only he agrees to allow Mark Antony to live. So this is where we come to an end, and yes, bye for the time being. We are meeting again in some of the other lectures.